Next, now we can talk about the large intestine. Now for the first time, we're going to need help. We need bacteria, we need fungus, we need viruses. We have a host of microorganisms that are going to infest the large intestine. The baby is born with a sterile large intestine, and the colostrum, or the release of the mother's milk the first couple of days, will have a type of bacteria that will help populate this. This is very important as we're going to now start the process of getting the digestive system, getting the proper bacteria into the bowel. We need these bacteria to help break up different nutrients, absorb different nutrients. We need these bacteria to help us absorb and synthesize many different vitamins in a natural way. And there's going to be literally hundreds of different types of microflora. This incredibly complex system is dominated by the number one bacteria known as Bacteroides. Bacteroides will account for 60 to 70% of the weight of your stool. This is an anaerobic bacteria, meaning it's a nasty, bad bacteria, and it belongs in the bowel. If it escapes out of the bowel through some type of hose, what we call leaky gut syndrome in the large intestine, this type of bacteria can then get into create hemorrhoids. It can go to different areas and create varicose veins because it likes to get into venous or vein tissue. It's a nasty little bacteria, but it's absolutely needed for digestion. In addition to that, now we also have lactobacilli of Acidophilus, Bifidus, Bulgaris, and Salvarius, and many of these other types of bacteria, which are then there also. These are aerobic bacteria, and they are good bacteria that will help us in digestion. We also need E. coli, a bad bacteria, strep, staph, a host of other types of bacteria, hundreds of different types that will populate our large intestine and be part of the natural process. Bacteria are not our enemies. They are part of God's plan, and we need them for existence. The germ theory was incorrect. The large intestine is needed, and we need this natural. We now know that the natural best food for a baby is mother's milk, that the synthetic supplements are not the best. We know that the large intestine in natural quantities are what we need. Now that the system has been able to break it up, we've got most of our digestion of the small intestine. The large intestine is going to help us with water-soluble vitamins and help us to stabilize water. We've manufactured a lot of fluids in the stomach, fluids in the small intestine, where now the large intestine is going to try to reabsorb those fluids back into our system. If it doesn't, we might get into a watery release. On the other side of the large intestine, opposite the ileocecal valve, we find the valve of Houston. The valve of Houston we can find by placing our left thumb into the umbilicus, left little finger on top of the iliac crest, and where these three fingers come down, we have another valve. If this valve stays open, the large intestine does not get a chance to absorb its water and the different liquids out of the stool, and we will get diarrhea. If we have too much diarrhea, we would be depleting the water, getting dehydrated, as well as the different minerals, because the large intestine also now will not only absorb the water, but absorb these minerals back into the system. Minerals which will go into the bloodstream and be able to help us. So the large intestine is very, very important. And if we have pain in the valve of Houston, sticking our fingers in and massaging towards the right shoulder 10 times can help to stabilize this, and has cured many types of diarrhea that I've seen with different types of patients, because the valve of Houston might simply be stuck open. If it's stuck closed, we might have a place where the bowel is going to create a distension. We get irritable bowel symptoms because it might be a problem with simply the valve of Houston. So the large intestine is critically important. Different allergy foods will complicate the valve of Houston, as it will have a tendency to clench if there's an allergy food. So the large intestine now, we blend in the bacteria to help us. The symptom of a problem of the large intestine is going to be too much rectal gas, because that means that there's a problem in the bowel flora, an upset. but this is extremely important in our digestive system.